I'm going to talk to you about some things that I've learned in my journey. Most from experience, some of them I heard in passing, many of them I'm still practicing, but all of them I do believe are true. Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. So the question that we've got to ask ourselves is what success is to us, what success is to you. Is it more money? That's fine. I got nothing against money. Maybe it's a healthy family. Maybe it's a happy marriage. Maybe it's to help others, to be famous, to be spiritually sound, to leave the world a little bit better place than you found it. Continue to ask yourself that question. Now your answer may change over time, and that's fine. But do yourself this favor. Whatever your answer is, don't choose anything that will jeopardize your soul. Prioritize thing that antagonizes your character. Be brave, take the hill, but first answer that question, what's my hill? So first, we have to define success for ourselves. And then we have to put in the work to maintain it. Take that daily tally. Tend our garden. Keep the things that are important to us in good shape. Where you are not is as important as where you are. It is just as important where we are not as it is where we are. Look, the first step that leads to our identity in life is usually not, I know who I am. I know who I am. That's not the first step. The first step's usually, I know who I am not. Process of elimination. Defining ourselves by what we are not is the first step that leads us to really knowing who we are. You know that group of friends that you hang out with that really might not bring out the best in you? You know, they gossip too much or they're kind of shady. They really aren't going to be there for you in a pinch. Or how about that bar we keep going to that we always seem to have the worst hangover from? Or that computer screen, right? The computer screen that keeps giving us an excuse not to get out of the house and engage with the world and get some real human interaction. Or how about that food that we keep eating? Stuff that tastes so good going down, makes us feel like crap the next week, and we feel lethargic and we keep putting on weight. Well, those people, those places, those things, stop giving them your time and energy. Just don't go there. I mean, put them down. And when you do this, when you do put them down, you quit going there, and you quit giving them your time, you inadvertently find yourself spending more time and in more places that are healthy for you, that bring you more joy. Why? Because you just eliminated the who's, the where's, the what's, and the when's that were keeping you from your identity. Like, trust me, too many options, I promise you, too many options will make a tyrant of us all. All right, so get rid of the excess, the wasted time. Decrease your options. If you do this, you will have accidentally, almost innocently, put in front of you what is important to you by process of elimination. Knowing who we are is hard. It's hard. So give yourself a break. Eliminate who you are not first. You're going to find yourself where you need to be. Instead of creating outcomes that take from us, let's create more outcomes that pay us back, fill us up, keep your fire lit, turn you on for the most amount of time in your future. We try our best, we don't always do our best. Architecture is a verb as well. And since we are the architects of our own lives, let's study the habits, the practices, the routines that we have that lead to and feed our success, our joy, our honest pain, our laughter, our earned tears. Let's dissect that and give thanks for those things. And when we do that, guess what happens? We get better at them. And we have more to dissect. Be discerning. Choose it because you want it. Do it because you want to. We're going to make mistakes. You got to own them. Then you got to make amends. and then you've got to move on. Guilt and regret kills many a man before their time. So turn the page, get off the ride. You are the author of the book of your life.
Just wanted something inspirational. And Billy, this is for you. Oops.
This commercial is...
There was a time and place where I never thought I'd leave my own hometown. But those days finally are dead and gone. It was never my intention to stay there. Oh. There was a conscious effort played by me to disown anything, and I see there was a girl I knew back when who says she doesn't know me anymore. These are the lies, the things you never mention. These are my past mistakes, the things I'll stay away from. These are the thoughts written down on paper. It's my only savior. I'm not saying what I wanna say. These are the thoughts that are on my mind, moments that haven't yet been defined. And I don't know if you could ever understand. These are the things I can't say when we're alone. There were countless hours on the telephone. My ears are ringing from the dial tone. There were flashing lights and people staring. There was nothing I could ever do. These are the lies, the things you never mention. These are my past mistakes I'll stay away from. This is the truth, the only time you hear it. I'll write it down, 'cause it seems so hard to say. These are my thoughts written down on paper. It's my only savior from not saying things that I wanna say. These are the thoughts that are on my mind, moments that haven't yet been defined. And I don't know if you could ever understand. These are the things I can't say when we're alone. Welcome to the 8 Cage, everybody. And here's your host, Security James.
Give a shout out to Don. If anybody out there definitely deserves one for that track.
And rest in peace.
Donnie, thank
Rest
you.
in peace to Billy's, to Billy's moms. Not just,
Yeah.
she's watching above. She's watching all of us from above now, Billy.
Sure is. She sure is in every way, shape, or form. That song just reminded me of my mom. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to play it. Sure, I don't want your hand to fall off.
But I'll have it up because that's the way I roll.
Hey,
But
damn right.
the one thing that stuck out on the intro and the motivation, I
Mm-hmm.
agree with that, and I can't think of anything I disagree with that. But then I heard somebody today talk. The first 50% of their conversation was like, "Damn, this guy knows more than I do on this," and then all of a sudden at 50%, he switched to about 20% that was, "Wait a minute, what the fuck?" And then the last 30% was, "I 100% disagree with what the fuck you're saying." So you listen to that and you're just like, and then you go listen to McConaughey and he's saying you just pick. Okay, how do you divide that into picking? Because 50%, and if you take the 20% that is, I don't know, that's 70%. So how do you choose?
I can answer that story actually, because I listen to McConaughey. I listen to a bunch of motivational videos for years, man. Like instead of listening to music, I would listen to that, and then I started listening to books and all this stuff. But I think of it like a bottle, right? A bottle can only go 100%, right? You can only do 100%. So it's what you give into the bottle, right? So if you want to put 50% of greed, then 50% of your bottle is filled up with greed. You know what I mean? Or love, or whatever. So it's just like he said in a video, or it's you pick what you want to become, whatever you want to be. It's you the one that picks it, regardless of whatever.
It's a trip and it's a journey of life. You never know what's going to happen. You're going to be thrown twists. You're going to be thrown turns, wrong turns, upside down. But it's what you do that defines you. And you're the only writer and architect to your life. And that's why thought it was a very motivational.
Yeah, man, I love that. I love that one, man. That was one of my favorites, man.
Well, then you'll love the next one. So, anywho, tonight we're going to be talking about Evergrande. Evergrande is the big topic of discussion. So, we're going to teach you some stuff about Evergrande. I got some people that came in. McSqueezy, thank you for coming by, even if it's for a short time. But this is your expertise in this area, so I appreciate you coming by. We're also going to talk about how this is going to affect the banks, whether it's going to be through the shadow banking system or the actual lit banks that everybody knows about, and what does this do for AMC and the collateral and everything else that's around this Evergrande collapse. So this way, you guys all have a sense, you guys all understand, and the dramatic impact of this. So, just not too long ago, you heard that Evergrande was being liquidated. What I'm shocked about, and this is what I thought there would have been a hell of a bigger dip when it comes to the actual Chinese index. And I don't understand how that got propped up in any which way. I don't know, McSqueezy, if you have an answer for that. Did they just halt trading and then just stockpile a bunch of money into it? Or what did they do? Really one of my questions.
My initial thought to that, which I have no actual research backing on, is that many of the banks who are using assets related uh, to Evergrande and real estate in China
Mm-hmm.
have just been funneling money to China somehow to prop up the Chinese economy so that it doesn't collapse, causing an international collapse.
So this also stems from, if you have not just Evergrande, we also have the other one, which is Country Garden as well. That's also going through the same process, isn't that right?
That's correct, and they have 3,000 more projects than Evergrande, so they're currently bigger.
Hey, hold on. Hey, James, hold on. Hey, man, Squeezy. Hey, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate everything that I'm about to learn from you and everything. But Royal, I'm not gonna call you out, but I'm kind of call you out, brother. You're my brother. I love you, but I don't want no interruptions today. None. Two, one, two. I'm kicking you down. cool.
McSqueezy is my favorite, probably out of everybody. My favorite Evergrande tracker. I love McSqueezy posts about it.
Yeah, I cannot wait to hear it because I mean I've been talking to James and I'm trying to wrap myself up and all this stuff. So go ahead, McSweezy. You know, you take the floor. James asked the questions. You know, Royal's already sending me the 100, so he's cool. We're good to go, man.
I'm just gonna laugh. That's all I'm gonna do. But anywho, so they have 3,000 more
He family.
projects. So what would be so the impact of the actual fallout of Country Garden seems more bigger than Evergrande then, correct?
On paper, yes, but I don't think anybody really knows. But I would expect
Dude,
the
this is all
default.
bullshit. The Zhangzi shadow bank is 35 to 40 billion in debt liabilities over assets. And that's just a shadow bank. And they blame it on the whole real estate obligations, debts.
I'm just
And they're
curious.
just a fucking shadow bank. So there's no way that they're like the same debt obligation as Evergrande.
They are, but I think we should hear what McSqueezy has because I think everything he's got is very important, and I know that a lot of the stuff that he has posted, I've actually done a lot of research on.
No. I
And so,
love McSqueezy. I didn't mean to cut him
yeah,
off. Sorry, Squeezy. Go ahead.
no, I just
We
know
got
his time's
excited.
short. So
Yeah, we got excited. But Fafa is right. Please, no interruption. Let's keep it as clean as possible, so that way, it's everybody can benefit from it. So, Miss Squeezy, take the floor and let us know. Just do a ping or like a ring whenever you're done.
Yeah. So I mean, just in terms of, um, sorry,
The
train of thought.
fallout of
Yeah.
Country Garden.
So in terms of the fault of Country Garden, like I don't have like the quantifying like it's this much worth of Evergrande, but I do know that either or of those two are enough to basically cripple the Chinese economy because the real estate market is so much of the Chinese GDP. And then that relates to the international market because everything is interconnected between the banks, between real estate and investors, bondholders, so on and so on and so on. So, yeah, China's going to be one to watch for the foreseeable future.
Now, does that interconnect? So, with the interconnections, whether it's shadow or lit, does that interconnect with the trading or the trading banks? So, your J.P. Morgans, your Goldman Sachs, all of them. I mean, I know that they have to be connected somehow because there's no way that they would be able to post the losses that they have had just in quarter over quarter.
Yeah. So in terms of banks, so I don't have access to like Bloomberg Terminal anymore, but when I did, like in terms of looking at Evergrande, the shareholders are like BlackRock, UBS, like all the usual names.
HSBC.
Yeah, HSBC, all of those guys. And then in terms of Country Garden, there was an article, a post I made a few months back where they said recent bondholders of Country Garden were like BlackRock, UBS again, JP Morgan, Deutsche. So I mean, like these banks are all invested in these companies in terms of being a shareholder, being a bondholder, whether it's funneling money through shadow banks, like Matt said, which are really just money market funds for the most part. So, I mean, like, there's so many ways that this web connects from here to there to everywhere, really. So, it's going to be a mess.
It's going to be a disgusting mess, considering that how much of this collateral has been rehypothecated throughout the entire market.
so
That's
James, the important thing that McSqueezy's saying, and I want to kind of reiterate, is that there's some severe connections that tie into some severe company banks specifically that are already being affected by things like Archegos and Credit Suisse. One of the things he's talked about is the actual Evergrande collapse, actually, and on top of that, you have Countrywide. What is it? Countrywide? Is that what they call it?
Hey,
Country Garden. But if you look, I posted at the top, McSqueezy, you're the one that kind of got my brainchild going on this, and I really looked in depth on the UBS and the HSBC connection and how they were affected by the bond holding that they have on the Evergrande situation. I posted at the top. So currently, HSBC has what is it, $14.3 billion into the Evergrande situation and the actual, basically the market on the housing over in China and things like that. And that, and one of the things that I actually did on my research, which has been solidified by a lot of your posts, actually, is the fact that UBS had to get money from HSBC to be able to take over the Credit Suisse, Archegos collapse. They had to put some money in to hold the bonds up. And a lot of those bonds were tied with the Evergrande situation. So I thank you for your brainchild and everything you've been doing on the Evergrande, and that got me going on how in depth it is. These banks and Bank of America is tied to this. One of the things, though, I sent to James earlier was that I sent a couple Just Dario's posts about how the Korean and Chinese markets are actually handling this news right now, and they're both looking like they're bloody as hell. Because they have no money. So,
Hey, this time, Papa, I let that slide, but you went in front of everybody. They had their hand up. So
I understand that, Bleach, but it was on point. So
It was on point. Yeah, it was on point.
It
Robert,
makes it
I
look good.
believe was who was first.
It
Then,
was
Bleach.
Royal.
Roy.
Yeah, Royal, then Matt, then Roberts.
All right.
Robert's ahead of me.
Hey guys, thank you so much, man. McSqueezy, appreciate you. To everyone in this space. The Evergrande situation, we've been seeing this for the last couple of years. And when it first broke, it was something I really dived into because of the pensions tied to it. It's something underlying in the amount of money that is in USD tied to their collapse. The Chinese people invest in real estate like the United States people invest in retirement funds, pension funds. They buy the real estate, and the hedge funds and these banks have tied themselves to this liquidity pool that is the Chinese economy as a whole, and have been using that to kind of offset and prop up, I believe, real estate markets here in the United States. I don't know if you guys remember, I'm in the construction industry. It was right around, I think, 2009, 8, 9, something like that, where there was no concrete because China had it all. They were throwing up these skeleton buildings. People were buying out in front, and they were literally Ponziing the money out of these. They were robbing Peter to pay Paul, and everything is wrapped into this. We have United States pensions wrapped in this. We have long-term equities wrapped in all of this, and it is incredibly like we know the oversight is horrific in this country, and the risk on those assets was so astronomical that they should have never been allowed to allocate money from the United States to that. And McSqueezy, I see your hand, I'll let you go, but that's kind of my little input on that. I've been following that one for a minute. I've been hunting Evergrande.
Hey, Royal, thank you for that yield, my man. That was good.
Go ahead, McSqueezy.
Just to follow up on what you're saying, Royal, and somebody mentioned collateral earlier. There is the thing about commercial paper as well, which is going to be a huge problem. So that's basically an IOU, but by definition, it's just a promise that construction suppliers use as payment on a future fixed date. And it's short term or long term in terms of banking. It's usually 1 year. And it's basically saying like, hey, I'll pay you this much in the future on a fixed date. So that's something that's heavily used. It's used as collateral. It's used as basically like, it's used very heavily within capital markets. And a Reuters article said in March of last year that there were 1,184 companies that were overdue on at least 3 commercial paper payments in the last 6 months prior to that article in China. So, yeah.
Yikes.
And that's what I had my hand up for, because I was going to bring up the contingency, not just on Evergrande itself, but the companies that they contract with that they owe money to. And when you're a big contractor like that and you're using that many resources from a company, 9 times out of 10, a lot of companies, that's their biggest and uh, company dependent client. So if they don't get paid, how many bankruptcies are going to fold from there? And these big companies that are supplying these big materials get their loans from where? The same banks.
Hey, security, James. Can you pull up that thing I posted on your comment real quick? It's
Which
about
one?
HSBC. HSBC has lost hundreds of billions of dollars, and that was today or yesterday.
Is it the Reuters or the one below that one?
I think that wasn't that the Reuters. I believe that was.
Yeah, Reuters.
So here's the significance of what we're starting to see right now. So there is actually speculation currently going on over in the Nikkei market that they are refusing to allow sells right now. They're trying to keep the market from basically collapsing. So that's rumor. I've got to look into it, but I've seen a few people actually posting about it, and I've been trying to look it up. So right now, I just say it's speculation, but I believe that it is actually factual that they're going to try everything they can to keep it from collapsing by not allowing. They're taking away the sell button. I mean, that's what it sounds like, and they are Korea. They're basically trying to take charge, and Korea is actually contemplating taking away naked short selling again or short selling again. So, at this particular moment, it's truly beginning of mass chaos. So, I've got to do more research on it, but at this point, that's what I'm hearing is they're taking away the sell button.
Go ahead, McSqueezy.
Just in terms of Korea and short selling, that has been banned completely in Korea until later in the year, I believe the end of July.
Yeah, and I think what they're trying to do is extend it out for a longer period, though.
Yes, correct. They are.
Robert, you had your hand up before.
Okay, real quick. With people are saying, well, the media, not people. The media is pretty much saying that it's not going to affect the U.S. markets, but it's already affecting Europe as it is. UBS is being, their collateral and everything else is all situated from that too. So it's affecting everyone across the board, and they're going to lie to you.
Let me kind of add to that, and then Royal. So I'll be quick. So HSBC currently over in Japan on the markets over there has already been dropping because of the loss of income plus the 14.3 billion that they currently hold on the housing market over in the Asia Pacific area. So they're actually looking at a bad day, and it's not. I don't think it's just the beginning. I think we're going to see that for the next 30 to 45 days and see how it really impacts them, because they put a lot of money into things like tech, and they also put into the automotive industry. So if it does fall, and you're going to be looking at things like Nissan, Toyota, the chip manufacturers, and the manufacturers that make things for Apple and stuff. And that's where it's really going to start getting dicey, because that's where it's going to start affecting the American markets the most, on companies like Apple and Nvidia and things like that. And that's blue chip stocks, right, guys? That's what they're holding the SPY up. So
I'm going to say instead of dicey, let's make it juicy, because that's juice.
okay, let's just say they're fucked. How about that?
Yes,
Better?
exactly. That's the whole point. It's juicy. Royal, and then AU.
I wanted to go back real quick and Papa, that was real fire. It's exactly what Matt was saying, is that the ties between companies, all of these companies that supply the materials, they've been lent notes, they've been promissory note type of situations, backdoor deals, what have you, and everyone is looking for that. And then it goes down further where they're now allocating money on the retail side in banking, like, oh, we have this supposedly coming in. So it really, really has a deep intrinsic effect on every part of the market structure that we're dealing with. And with it being tied to USD, like this is what people I don't think are grasping, is that it's fucking US dollars in debt. It's not like yen or yuan. Like, you can convert it however you want. but that is a large chunk of the fucking United States economy being deleveraged right now, and in multiple facets. And not only in the Chinese market, there are outside investors from all over the world that have been pouring into this one company, and they are all being held at a whim right now, looking for payment. 30 days pass, 180 days pass. We're 2 years into this. Like, they're defaulting.
AU.
No, I just want to add to this mix. I am in the process of, I'm not sure you see my tweet out, but I'm in the process of doing research on the banks that my association's in with. We have 3 accounts spread across a credit union and 2 banks. Last year, I managed to get 1 bank eliminated into a credit union. I'm doing a research on a second credit union that would accept our 501 program, and in the process of researching this second bank, which with high exposure in the derivatives market, the branch manager arbitrarily just went, oh, hey, we can raise your interest rates from 0.01 to 3.44 with a keystroke. And I just looked at her. You're a manager. You're a branch manager, and you're authorized to raise our interest rate up to 3.44%
How?
with the stroke of a key on the spot. And she did it.
Wow.
So if that's not telling you something, a branch manager usually doesn't have that much juice to get it done.
They got to make a call.
They got to make a call, and it has to go to underwriting.
She did not make the call. I'm making the assumption that she's already had the call, and they're telling their managers, you're authorized to do X, Y, and Z.
Well, and that would be because they're limited on the amount of cash on hand they have, and they need to actually get everybody in as they can.
Well, they're trying to keep it in.
Yeah.
So again, I got to reiterate. We were standing there. She's like, "Oh, your interest rate's 0.01. I can raise it to 3.44." I was like, "What? You gonna make a phone?" No, and she did it right there on the spot. No phone calls, no
Hey,
emails,
James.
automatic. So
Take a look at your DMs.
What?
stand by.
Goldie, man, I don't know if you want to do that or jump at that chance, but at the same time, it also is questionable tactics because, like I said, they're in need of money. It's the only way they're going to survive.
So what triggered this meeting, and because I can't do it by myself, I gotta have a third part or second party with me, and she can't do it by herself. I have to be there, or somebody, a third person has to be there with her, the manager to do this. We've got a CD that's coming mature, and we've got until next week to make a decision if we're going to go with a 5 month or a 12 month. And she wrote down the numbers for me for the 5 month. I think it's like 3.88% or 4 point something percent, and the 12 month CD maturity went down to 3 point something. I said, why is the differential? Usually your longer terms will be higher, and I kind of cut her off and said, y'all are pricing in this the potential interest rate cut in March. She says, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So they're banking on giving you a higher interest rate for short term, banking that there's going to be an interest rate cut and not being trapped at a higher rate if there's an interest rate cut in March. So that's the secondary piece of this whole thing that kind of intrigued me. I didn't just fall at the turnip truck. I know exactly what's going on, and I kind of let into it, but she didn't have an idea of what was going on, just that she's been authorized to do X, Y, and Z as far as interest rates concerned. So that's just a tell in my book.
Matt, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor, and then I have a question for McSqueezy in regards to those.
Going to exactly what he's saying, though. I mean, and you see that all over the market with the auctions and the bonds, is nobody wants the commitment of long term. So you're seeing these 1 year, 2 year, 3 year rollovers, and you're seeing these cycles. But McSqueezy, a real telling sign to me is when I've been looking at the internet and reading articles and stuff, and they always got the tag articles at the bottom, I'm seeing a lot of, in a recession, a good sit on your money investment is a real estate, uh, I forgot the word, like a paper,
A bond?
like a bond. And they're like, you can earn 6-7% just leaving your money sit on it. And I'm thinking, these fucking assholes are trying to pawn off their bullshit to somebody else because I don't know, maybe you know more, but explain like what happens with real estate paper when you buy that stuff and it goes bankrupt.
Then you lose.
You ain't
Poof.
collecting those 6-7% interest. You're not even getting your paper money. You're just out. So
You're
that, and I'm seeing this all over the internet. I'll look at the tag articles and stuff. There was a tag article about real estate. Real estate. What the hell do you call them? They're not bonds, or is it paper?
well, it's commercial paper. Are you talking about commercial or
Yeah.
residential?
Well, it just says real estate.
So you have the
It don't
mortgage-backed
say
security
bond.
bond, and then you would have a commercial paper.
All right. Well, don't see it. It just says. It says something else. Hold on, I got it right here.
Yeah, you
Pass,
send that to me.
passive income investments are one of the most trusted methods for riding out a recession. So it's no surprise people turn to
Wow.
high yield real estate notes that pay a fixed 7.5 to 9%. Right? The article tag before that, Warren Buffett said, if you don't find ways to make money while you sleep, you'll work till you die. The tag article before that, investing in real estate just got a whole lot simpler. The Jeff Bezos backed startup will allow you to become a landlord in just 10 minutes, and you only need $100.
Are you talking about
Wow.
REITs?
Yeah, they're talking about anything real estate that they can get off their books and pass on to somebody else.
It's crap.
I know.
It's got to be
You were hunting
tokenized.
for a term, and I just threw one out there. So.
Well, you know how MSM is. They'll tell you exactly how to lose your money when they get going.
There's a program online that allows you to actually purchase like homes. I'm not sure what it's called. A family member reached out to me over it, so I don't know if you guys know about it.
What program?
I believe it was like about $100 just to invest into homes, and it'll make you a landlord. I knew it was a scam when I seen it, but I wonder if that's what he's talking about.
I
McSqueezy?
like it.
Let McSqueezy go.
I just wanted to just follow up on what Matt was saying because he mentioned the words high yield and it made my ears kind of stand up. So just when you hear high yield, just think. Uh, so high yield is the promise of more income, which is the yield, is basically an interest payment on an investment that you make. But it's very risky. So if you hear high yield, just know that it's very risky, more risky than stocks, more risky than bonds, or it could be a type of bond that's just very risky because the seller of the bond, their credit worthiness is not that great. But high yield
They haven't paid anything
is
in a while on it, and that you're probably a second lien, which means you're not getting the first of anything when it goes bankrupt.
very likely, yes.
So, which I find very interesting. And so I have, yeah, Royal, I have two questions before you're going to go. So just so you know, my first question that I have is the U.S. Treasury Department's rigged data to keep long-term yields low. So since Joe is vulnerable in 2024 as it is an election year, some simple lessons before we go on is high demand and little supply leads to a price increase, while low demand and high supply leads to lower prices. Price and yield, the rates, are inversely related. If one increases, the other one decreases. But you have Janet the Tinkerbell Yeller who is preaching a completely different tune right now, just trying to keep any semblance of an economy going. There's no way that they can keep this going, and this can survive. There's none. from a price index standpoint, from the yield standpoint, there's no way. They're so inverted as of right now that one of them's just going to start going. I mean, I don't know what problems I know they have a shit ton of problems at these banks, but Bank of America was already brought up. So, Bank of America, you have McSqueezy, if I'm wrong on some of the details, please, you can correct me at any time. But Bank of America holds right now, I think it's 96% or 97% of Citadel's margin right now that they haven't made a payment on. That's one. You also have this problem with Evergrande. They got to be involved with it some way, somehow, or else why would they be sitting here having problems? And between year over year quarter, they went from it being at earnings and making 7.1 billion